Hello to all my viewers, I hope you're all doing great. I'm interrupting the creation of part 2 on why the literature of The Last Jedi failed because I wanted to discuss something that came up. I'm guessing most of you that follow my channel also enjoy games as much as I do, and the majority of you have heard of the EA controversy and backlash that followed exactly last year. If you don't know what this is about and want a detailed explanation on what happened, I suggest you check a video made by the Act Man and you'll be all caught up. It's under 15 minutes and worth the watch, link in description. Now to quickly summarize on my video. Fans got really angry with what EA tried to pull off in the early release last November. We all hate the concept of loot crates because you're basically spending your hard-earned cash for something that doesn't have intrinsic value. Loot crates are a form of gambling because you are spending money and you aren't getting its worth in return. So it's just as risky as the roulette or blackjack in a casino. Due to the backlash the fans gave EA, the news reached the ears of the necessary people that immediately took action and forced EA to abort the loot crate system in exchange for real money. This was a great victory for the gaming community because the microtransactions tip the scales in favor of those who spend money and throws the game off balance completely for the rest of us. People who spend money to upgrade their characters and star cards faster would have an advantage over the average Joe who takes more time to grind in order to power up. Fans ultimately were having none of it. Shelling out $60 at launch was more than they were willing to pay. Sadly, the microtransaction policy hasn't been completely eradicated from gaming and has taken root into mobile gaming deeply. It comes as no surprise that when you download a mobile game from the App Store, I'm sure you've noticed that you can find hints of microtransactions present in every game. Microtransactions are cleverly implemented to make a player spend money, usually to buy in-game currency with the goal of upgrading fast and becoming stronger in competitive formats. Said in-game currency is usually in the form of crystals, diamonds, or gems that in turn are used to buy gold or coins that in turn itself are what used to upgrade power levels in the game. So this is where things become unfair. If I have $100 per se and use it to buy crystals and upgrade my character faster, thus getting stronger faster and end up battling someone else who grinds without paying, I guess the odds are stacked in my favor. But don't get me wrong, there are some free-to-play players out there that have the chops to make pay-to-win players run for their money. So in some cases, yes, skill is very important. Now to discuss Netmarble. Netmarble is a developer just like EA but much smaller in scale. This company got the license to the Star Wars franchise and developed a game called Star Wars Force Arena. This game is very popular and unique as it combines elements from League of Legends, a game that is very popular as well, mixed with a card game format. So basically, your leader card is a character that you control and you get to deploy 7 cards into the arena. You can play as a light side or dark side hero. Each leader has a unique card that is not mandatory to use in your deck, but you can choose from a wide pool of cards to adjust your deck to the style that suits you the best. The rest of the card categories after the leader and unique cards are epic, rare, and common. Now let me explain the rules of the game. Each team on the arena has 3 turrets and a main generator. The goal of each match is to destroy as many turrets and or the main generator under 3 minutes. An extra minute is added when both teams are tied when the time runs out. If that minute expires also, the match ends in a draw. The team that scores the most turrets in a game automatically wins. Simple, right? And that's what made the game so addictive. Force Arena worked on a ranking system that gave the game its competitive format. Players can also form guilds that collaborate in missions that end up giving rewards at the end of each mission and individually based on their rank respectively. The rewards given are copies of the cards you already own, and after you collect a number of cards, given you have the sufficient amount of credits, you can upgrade your card's level to make it stronger. The higher the level, the more cards you need to grind for and credits to earn in order to upgrade. Or you can buy crystals so you can get credits and go to the shop and trade your crystals for rare and epic cards. And that's the problem with the game, folks, just like any other mobile game. This is the focus of the video. Naturally, Netmarble got greedy just like EA, but players didn't give this company hell the way they did to EA, or else this game would be saved. Yes, saved. Pay2Win literally kills gaming and destroys the gaming community, and Netmarble went full circle with their greed. Because nobody protested at least to the degree of EA, Netmarble made a daring move over the course of time. To understand what went wrong and why Netmarble is ultimately terminating services for the game, we need to go back to the root of the problem. So as I mentioned, the game's main currency is the crystals that can be obtained by paying or grinding for them. The choice is up to the player. In the early stages of the game, players could obtain up to 75 free crystals by entering a ranked match or an arcade mode daily. Win or lose, you would get 75 crystals daily, and by the end of the season, which is on a weekly basis, that would make it 525 crystals alone. Add an average of another, let's say 500 crystals as your weekly reward for the ranking that you got. That would be over 1,000 crystals a week. The shop where you could spend your crystals had a lot of items that could cover a budget of 1,000 crystals or more, meaning that if you spent money or grinded for your crystals, the average Joe would do just as well in regards of upgrading his cards.
Most players would guard their crystals for unique bundles that would appear in the shop periodically that would help them upgrade their decks very fast. 4th Arena players will understand the 4x4 card special with 299 crystals each card, and eventually one of each set of cards, one set of unique cards, legendary cards, epic, rare, and common. The works. Especially if you played with decks of a specific faction, like mine for instance, General Grievous and his Separatist army, all I'd have to do was guard my crystals until the Separatist bundle was on sale in the shop. For Netmarble, however, being a company meant that their sales in crystal packages were going down at the time because it was better for players to be patient and grind for them instead of buying them with real money. Enter the update 3.0 for Star Wars Force Arena. An update so anti-player and so EA-like that a lot of people, especially free-to-play gamers, deleted the game because it was making it more difficult for players to keep up. And this is exactly what Netmarble wanted to achieve. In order for sales in crystals to go up, they needed to thin out the herd and focus more on the pay-to-win demographic. This, or regular players, were faced with a choice. Start paying for crystals, grind till Kingdom Come, or delete the game and play Angry Birds when you're on the can. So how did Netmarble start their pay-to-win campaign? Let's take a look. The first thing that Netmarble did was to remove the daily free crystals. This was a serious blow to average gamers as the weekly crystal farming was reduced from 30 up to 60%. The only good thing that the 3.0 update did for the game was reduce the number of cards needed for upgrades, but established a level cap for each category. Keep that in mind as I'll come back to that later. Still, with an average of half the crystals gathered on a weekly basis this time, some players still hung around the game and held on to their reserve of crystals a little tighter this time. This went on for a few months until Netmarble hit the final nail in the coffin in an attempt to completely eradicate the free-to-play gamers from their servers. And boy did they succeed, as the only ones left in the game were the shameless whales that kept spending money to upgrade their epic and unique cards by spending tens of dollars at a time, and a handful of those that managed to upgrade their cards enough to be able to compete against the pay-to-win players. How they did it? Again, Netmarble hit the free-to-play players where it hurt the most. The crystal rewards. After a minor update, the crystal rewards in the game were replaced with credits, so now all you were left with was whatever you had in reserve. So if it was 800 crystals, for example, you'd had to get your credit card out to get more. After axing whatever free-to-play players were left, sales went up and stabilized from the income of the top players in the game, and we thought that would be the end of it. And our journey brings us here, the present day, where Netmarble has announced they're killing off the game. Way to go. They got greedy, and that's the main reason. They also got lazy because the last set of leaders are so stupid that don't make sense. Qui-Gon Jinn, for example, never made it as a leader card in the game, but you know who did? Moloch. Don't you remember Moloch? You know that lizard thing that worked for Lady Proxima in Solo? Yeah, he had 3 scenes in Solo, and the developers at Netmarble thought he was important enough to make him a playable character. Not only that, but for months Netmarble didn't come up with an update on the game, and their greed is to blame. Remember that level cap I talked about earlier? This comes into play now, as the top players stopped buying cards in the game because, they already maxed their cards or reached them high enough to secure a spot in the ladder. After that, even they thought it was in vain to spend so much money on cards that they wouldn't use after all. Some players have spent literally hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in the game, and all that money went down in the drain. What a shame. Because of this, it caused a chain reaction. No crystal card sales meant no money for the developers to come up with an update to help keep the game alive. Congratulations, Netmarble. Your greed is as legendary as EA's because the fans of your game didn't protest like they did with EA, so you dug a hole and buried yourself in it. Let this be a lesson to EA and any other big company out there that still upholds this shitty pay-to-win policy in their products. Pay-to-win kills games and harms the gaming community. Yes, it does. Get this through your thick skulls, please. This practice will get you rich for a period of time, yes, but in the end game, when it passes, everything will implode in your face just like it did with Netmarble. So in a way, you gain more when fans give you hell about your microtransaction shit because in the long run, it keeps the game alive. If fans didn't protest like they did with EA and Star Wars Battlefront 2, this game would have been long dead. But EA has a different problem now because of politically correct feminist culture in gaming, Battlefield 5, but that blew up in their face too, and I'm enjoying that. This is assurance to any gamer out there that loves this hobby that your voice carries authority It matters what you say, and when you use your wallet correctly, it dictates the future of these shitty companies. As for Netmarble, don't be a dick to the players that spend thousands of dollars on your game. Sell the rights to a more competent company and keep the game alive. People love this game, and if you kill it, it will harm other projects you have the rights to. Save your reputation, sell Force Arena. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. But hey, this is Star Wars, a franchise that literally shows us that it can cheat death. Take a look at Maul and the Clone Wars series, for example. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this video and you found it informative. I'll get back to my series I interrupted to bring you this topic. But if you like these kinds of topics, well, please consider subscribing as I have more like these planned in the future. Follow me on Twitter as I enjoy interacting directly with you and exchanging ideas and opinions. General Katarn, out.